Hey Al, welcome back to Gravity Rush. So, I think it's about time we say goodbye to this lovely little opening part of town and say hello to the last mission of this section of the game, I guess you could call it. So, basically every so often, like roughly every quarter or fifth or something of the sort of the game, you'll get a mission kind of like this, where you have to talk to Gade, who I don't think actually has been named yet, but I had a failed recording, so I remembered his name was that, and forgot that I didn't know beforehand. But yeah, his name's Gade. So, after Gade very suggestively sucks Cat into his being, we come across this little land here. I guess you could consider this like the dungeons of the games. The Rift Plains are little things you get between each section of the hub world, or the town of Hexadel. And once you go through them, basically, all it really does, all things considered, is just adds a little more to the place to explore. But of course, you need to do that to get further along, so these are, of course, very important missions in that regard. So I guess I should say a few things about Hexville that the game hasn't necessarily explained, but has kind of like shown in a sense. Basically, Hexville, if you haven't noticed, is a city floating in the sky. Not for any particular reason, I don't think. It just is. Well, I mean, aside from the obvious, it's a good setting for this kind of game. Reason, but, you know. But yeah, Hexville, because of that, you might not have actually noticed that the town is actually, like, divided up into these little chunks. You might have just assumed that the world map was that tiny because, you know, video game zone. I don't expect video games to take place in locations that make any kind of geographical sense. Now this is interesting, we got rid of, like, all of these guys. But more are spawning in. Yeah, say hello to a new kind of Nevi. This isn't, like, a particularly interesting one, especially since the Nevi it spawns in are all just basic-ass fodder enemies. But you do want to take that out anyway, just because obviously, if it's alive, it keeps spawning more, and that's a bit of a hassle. You want to clear out a room of Nevi. Oop. Interestingly enough, the Nevi that it spawns, I think, actually die with it. And yeah, there's where you learn his name. Alright, are any of these guys new? I don't think so. Yeah, I think these are all guys we've seen before. Yeah, if I sound like I'm speaking kind of weird, it's mainly because I'm recording this kind of late. And I'm kind of tired, and the main reason I'm recording this while tired is just because something kind of weird happened to me today, and I want to, like, talk about it in some form. I probably would have saved this for Sonic, but I got a big backlog of that ready, and I don't want to have it finished in, like, a week, basically. So I'm just kind of putting that off until I've got... Well, basically until the things started uploading. Like, Yuka hasn't even finished uploading. I'm already past the hero story in my backlog for that. But, yeah, basically, at work, if you didn't see the previous video, this is probably going to make a little bit less sense, but you can probably gather details from watching. And also, why are you skipping ahead to a future video of a sequential series that doesn't make much sense, in my personal opinion? But yeah, basically at work today, I had to do a carryout for someone. They were being kind of indecisive at first, so it took a little while for the carryout to even start, but it did eventually start. And after well, actually no, the carryout wasn't, like, right away, I don't think. So basically, after I finished checking them out, because, you know, I'm also the cashier in electronics, because we just kind of have every role in the department. So after I finished checking him out, he basically says, hey, can you meet me at customer service? Because I have something else I want to pick up before I leave. And I'm like, okay, so he like says this will only take a minute. I'm like, that's fine. So I go to customer service, and 20 minutes later, he is there. And I've basically been doing nothing this whole time, just waiting for him to get here, because I thought he was going to be here quickly, but oh well, it happens, I guess. Whatever. It's annoying, but what can you do? I guess. So then, we get to the door, and basically, because I'm doing the carryout, I have to make sure he shows the door guy his receipt, because if I don't do that, then I can get written up for that. And what happens then is he adamantly refuses to do so. And basically his reasoning, I guess, is I know he paid for it because I checked him out, and I'm like, yes, but I can get written up for it if I don't show him the receipt, because I'm doing the carryout. So that's another 10 minutes that I'm just kind of sitting there waiting for him to get the damn receipt out. It's like, he has the receipt, so it's not like he has any reason to have any issue showing the receipt. But whatever. It's annoying, but what can you do? So after that I go on my lunch break, and when I get back, one of my coworkers tells me that he came back after I left for my lunch break, like soon after I left for my lunch break, and started being incredibly rude to her and threatening to shoot up the entire department and kill everyone in it, including me. And he mentioned me by name because, of course, I had the name tag and I was the one who specifically, like, checked him out. So, that was interesting. I do wonder if that's, like, going to make any kind of, like, local news or anything, because I don't actually read any of, like, the prominent news organizations. I don't know if little stories like that tend to get covered a lot, but I don't know. You meet a lot of insane people working at a Walmart, as you've probably gathered from my odd work story here and there. In fact, later today I caught someone stalking someone in the store when he got to my apartment, and that was interesting. Well, not really, but it was something that happened. Yeah, obviously I wasn't there for the part where he threatened to shoot up and murder the entire department. Also, he was a scrawny motherfucker, so I don't think he even could have done that. But never say never, I guess. Like, I'm just thinking, like, this guy looks like he couldn't even, like, move the TV at all on his own. I feel like if he tried to fire a gun, his arm would just snap off right then and there. I have no idea. I'm trying to grab onto these things. There's not much of anything on most of them, and there's enough draw distance where I can tell when I'm in distance of one. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa! In distance of one that actually has something on it. There it is. Alright, so, now it's time for a boss fight, because that's always going to be at the end of one of these things. These aren't the only parts of the game where you fight bosses, but they're the most prominent, I suppose. So yeah, I guess one thing to say about this game in regards to its bosses is that combat in this game is kind of weird, in a sense, because it was designed to be a handheld game originally, so it's not exactly deep or anything, but specifically because, you know, it's a handheld game, if they try to make it too deep, then it becomes something you can't really just pop out and play on the bus or whatever. Actually, let me... Let's do one of these. Yeah. Yeah, so basically fighting bosses in this game, more or less what you're doing is just like dodging constantly and like trying to watch your meter. Like if it starts to go down like that, then you just start running around for a bit. Because I don't know if I actually mentioned this before, but you do actually gain meter back faster if you don't let it deplete all the way. I don't know why I'm gravity sliding this whole thing. I just am. And I forget, was that the entire boss? I feel like that was, because I don't think these cutscenes happen for like mid-boss attacks. Yeah, indeed it was. Okay. Weird, I remember that going on longer than that. But hey, now this district of Hexaville is complete. Actually, I forget, is Hexaville just the... Oh, who's that? It's she. She doesn't like us, doesn't she? Yeah, of course, doing all that does improve your rank, of course. So we can do some more upgrades beyond where we could before. Not that matters at the moment, because, you know, things. But hey, we can totally do it. And I believe we can also, if we find the, what's his name? If we find Gate again, we can go to... Excuse me. If we find Gate again, we can go back to that place, and there's a few things we can do extra there that we couldn't before. Maybe we should, but I'm not going to just yet, because I kind of want to save the reveal of this next location for the next video. But I will absolutely talk to these assholes. Which is actually the next place we'll be going to. Of course, that's land we just unlocked, after all. Guys. Look at him. Look at him. Oh, hang on. Game really does not want us to look at him. Look at him. Sadly, you cannot pet the dog. Or can you? Well, you can hold the dog. Look at him! Look at him go!